day and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with us today, I'm extremely pleased to introduce Pam Ng DeBroda, and she's a registered dietitian nurse or nutritionist at the Verde Valley Medical Center. And we also have Trevor Faust, who is a fitness floor supervisor for the Cottonwood Recreation Center. So I'd like to welcome you both. And I think we're going to be going on a little bit further. Last month we talked directly to Dr. Brad Williams. It was an enjoyable time period as we were taking a look at Looking Good Cottonwood and what it means for our community to actually be involved, in their own personal lifestyle and their lifestyle changes as to what they perceive that they would like for goals for themselves to set. And that's kind of what we're here today also, is we're expanding this session here because Looking Good Cottonwood goes on from early January all the way through early April. And again, it is a vital program that we have within the context of the city, as well as the Parks and Recreation Center programming. And as we look at health and wellness programming within our community, you know, we want to make sure that we work very intricately with the Verde Valley Medical Center. And the Verde Valley Medical Center has done so much. They provide funding as well as tremendous support on the behalf of the Cottonwood Recreation Center and the Looking Good Cottonwood program. So as we go through, we're going to be very thankful that Pam is here with us today because she can provide us with a little bit more information as to your personal goals as we look at the resolutions from January. And are you still working on those resolutions to maintain that direction, that vision that you have for the year, especially with your health and with your wellness? We have some questions here for both of them today, but we really want to get started with Pam. And Pam, you know, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I talked about was the hospital and how the Verde Valley Medical Center relates directly within our community to support health programming and wellness as well. And I saw here recently in both papers that the Verde Valley Medical Center is Health Happenings, and they have this program where they talk about the VVMC support group. So I'm going to do a little bit of a plug for Verde Valley Medical Center here real quick because of everything they do for us. And they have program support groups specifically for Parkinson's and Parkinson's groups and Parkinson's awareness as well as support. They also have stroke survivor support groups, chat room for cancer support groups, heads up for head and neck cancer support groups, family caregiver support groups, my goodness, and mended heart support groups. They also have bereavement support groups that are ongoing and diabetes support groups. And, you know, support groups are very vital for our community, and especially with trying to make sure that people mentally continue to address, I think, a lot of our health problems. And so they also do specific things such as the Arizona Free Zumba for kids classes and Know Your Numbers free health screenings for blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes. So if you have any questions about, you know, health or health issues, you can definitely probably get in touch with the Verde Valley Medical Center and their campaign to help our community be more vibrant, more alive, and more mentally aware of health issues within our community. But as we look forward to questions, tell us, Pam, about what is your passion and how does that work directly into your job?
Well, you know, food and nutrition is, I think, everybody's passion.
It is.
It's something that we all enjoy, and it's such a vital part of our social events, our ups, our downs, and just how we view life. So being able to work in the field where we actually look at what is the effect of the foods that we eat, how important is it to our health, also to our growth, our development, all of that is pretty exciting to be able to have learned and watch and see the changes that come, because the knowledge keeps changing almost exponentially now, and it's a challenge to be able to fit the right nutrition tool for the people that we are dealing with, because everybody's so different. And the fact that we're all so creative. For example, I mean, we know chicken is a food, but have you looked at recipe books? There's like a million recipes for chicken because humans are so creative. And that's kind of the joy of food and dealing with people who have to deal with it from maybe an illness perspective versus a wellness perspective.
That's really good information, especially the aspect of the creative aspects of things. Now, Pam, how long have you been working now at the Verde Valley Medical Center?
I've actually been with them since Marcus J. Lawrence days, so on and off for about 10, 15 years.
Wow, you have been. You've been there for quite some time.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking here at your business card. Now, Pam, you have an MPH, an RD, and a CSO. Now, what does all of that mean? I mean, that's really pretty neat stuff, but I honed in on that when you gave me your card. And so what is that involved?
The MPH is a Master's in Public Health, so that's kind of advanced training on dealing with community nutrition issues and looking at how best we can educate the community. The RD is the registered dietitian, so that's that formal nutrition training stuff that goes on.
And that's good for everybody out there to know that you are, a registered dietitian, so in that context.
And then the CSO stands for Certification Specialist in Oncology.
Oh, wow.
So that's something that just recently I've taken on, and I also work with the Cancer Center at Sedona, which is part of Verde Valley Medical Center as well.
That's a lot of background and education, that goes along with your position. So we're glad to have you here in our community, especially for such a long time, because that's very valued, within our community when people actually stay in one place for quite some time because they get to know people, and they get to know the community as a vibrant, creative community. And so I think that's a great thing. Pam, what are some of the best tips that you can tell the participants out there and our viewers on how to stay consistent with a nutritional program?
That's the challenge,
yes,
staying motivated. We were lucky enough to be able to talk to the latest group of Looking Good Cottonwood participants. And one of the things that is important is knowing why you're making that change. And it will change from year to year, time to time. And we all start with, well, I want to look better. But that one's kind of vague. We need to kind of hone it down a little bit to, well, I want to lose, say, 5 pounds so that my blood pressure is 10 points lower. Getting things real specific so that you can measure yourself as you go along. Also really important is choosing an eating style that you are comfortable with, that you like, and that you can maintain for 5 years, for 10 years, kind of for life, as we call it, a lifestyle. But oftentimes people don't think of that. When we look at diets and things like that, it's like, well, this is our temporary program until we get to where we want to be, and then we can go back to what we're doing, which unfortunately then adds to that whole problem of now you're not really motivated, now you're not eating as well, and now you're still having problems that you were trying to fix.
I see. That's interesting. And I know I'm going to hone in for a second on lifestyle change. And it's something that's one of our mottos at the Cottonwood Recreation Center is don't just make it a workout, make it a lifestyle. And I think that's one of the main issues why we're here and why we do a lot of these sessions. And I know in the months ahead, or even next month, we'll be getting into the Brian Mickelson Marathon and run and things of that nature. And again, we see a lot of people even transfer and move forward through not only the Brian Mickelson, from doing a 2-mile run race, they go to a 10K, and from a 10K, they then go on into the half marathon. From the half marathon, we've actually even seen people going into the full marathon stage. And so they're making this change, and it's an attitude adjustment, but they're doing it, and it's mental, and they are just incredible people, and we can all do that. I mean, that's just something that we can all make sure that we try to do is we look at the changes, like you had indicated, Pam. Things are coming rapidly and they're changing rapidly, and we see those things, and so we're trying to provide the information out there and get that communication out to our public. What what tips can you give our participants and viewers on what types of foods to eat for fat loss as we look at the Looking Good Cottonwood program?
We all want that magic food.
Yes, we do.
But, you know, unfortunately, there is no one magic food. If there was, well, you know, we're still looking for it. We may find it one day. But really, overall, and this is what's so fascinating to me about food and nutrition, is that a well-balanced, healthy diet goes a long ways to not only helping with weight, but preventing disease, keeping us healthy. And so that means having vegetables and fruits regularly in your diet. That means having more whole grains in your diet, lean meats in the diet, plant-based proteins in the diet. Being really careful with high sugar foods, empty calories, those kinds of things. But it doesn't mean that our food has to taste terrible.
That's right.
Yeah. It should look wonderful. It should still taste delicious. And really, those kinds of varieties in your diet play a big role. I think sometimes people like to keep things simple, and so the variety is a little limited. For example, if I ask people, well, what kind of vegetables do you have? I can hear corn, peas, carrots, potatoes. But there's so many other choices out there. And we know that the more colorful our vegetables are,
that's very true,
the more cancer fighting, the more health promoting components they have. Plus, if we don't put too much extra on them, we don't get a lot of those extra added calories either. So really, being adventuresome with your food choices is really important. And your vegetables and fruits are kind of your main providers of your health promoters in your foods. So really, those are the foods that we would suggest.
Well, I think that's good, Pam, and I think we can take off from that in that context of how we look at foods and food groups or whatever, is that, you know, when so many people say, oh, I've got to go on a diet, and, you know, and they don't think about it in the context that we can still make our foods look appetizing, look good, and eat properly and enjoy it. And I think that's a lot of it. We're going to take a break here for just a moment, and we'll get back with you, Pam, as to a little bit more intricately as to fad diets and things of that nature here. So we'll get into that. So we'll be back in just a minute. My name is Richard Faust. Again, thank you for being with us on Looking Good Cottonwood this morning, as I am your host.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with us is Pam DeBroda, and she's a medical nutrition clinician, as well as she is she's a wonderful person in the context of giving us information here today. We're having a good time. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist. Pam, we're going to continue on with you as it pertains to fad diets. I got that question because you know, you see them all the time out there and on the market these days. What are your thoughts on fad diets?
Well, they are good money makers, and unfortunately, we're not always in the right field. We tease each other in the field that we're just on the wrong end of it. The thing is, fad diets have been with us for years. Back in when we first started looking at nutrition in the history of the country, you'll hear history about fad diets and what was the latest. We do find that the challenge with fad diets is that long-term their effects are not consistent. And while they can promote weight loss temporarily for a little while, the long-term goals that we're looking for are really not promoted with the fad diets, because you don't have to face the issue of what choices do I have to make. Fad diets make it easy because they tell you what to eat.
Yes, they do.
You don't have to think about it. But our goal is to make you the food experts, actually, so that when you decide, well, do I want this or that, you know how to choose that choice based on what your needs are. And this is where we find that fad diets don't always meet that need, because they only address maybe one aspect of what you're trying to accomplish for yourself. But Martha Brown, our other dietitian, we actually have 4 at Verde Valley.
That's awesome.
But she'll be talking with Looking Good Cottonwood in February on this whole topic.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, Trevor, when is that? Do you know?
That's February. Wait, it's next week. Yeah.
So if you have a
Tuesday
question, a question that you might want as it pertains to that, and if you would like to attend that, you can attend that session. Please call the front desk of the Cottonwood Recreation Center at 639-3200, and they'll give you the time frame of when that will be for that specific program. And now, Pam, let me ask you this. So how far in a calorie deficit should you be to see weight loss results? I mean, I think that's a lot of, some people ask that question to us.
Yeah, and that's a real challenge, because the thinking that we used to use was about 500 calories off of your intake, should start looking at losing a pound a week. And that works very well for many people, but we're learning more and more about why we maintain weight or why we add weight. So sometimes for some people that isn't sufficient. Some people may need 1,000. It depends so much on activity and exercise, because they go hand in hand. It's kind of hard to get the results you want with just food changes, although many people do. But they're much more successful over the long term when they have that activity. And I know the Cottonwood Rec Center has been so nice, because we have people who say, well, I know I need to exercise, and I'm going to start at the rec center. And we're like, yes! That makes it so much better, because that really dovetails nicely with your goals to reduce your calorie intake, but not go too low, because people sometimes go, well, if I take a little off, a lot off should work better, but it doesn't work that way. It's always kind of a balancing act.
Well, that was it. So, Trevor, I mean, that's a lot of questions that you get is in the same context. Is what do I do more? Do I reduce calories, or do I focus on burning more calories through exercise? And I think we get that all the time.
Yeah, optimally, you want to burn the calories off instead of reducing calorie intake. Because a bad effect of going too low on your calories is a reduction in metabolism. So we want to make sure that we're still eating, we're feeding our body the nutrients it needs, and so that we can promote healthier weight loss. So.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gives us a little bit more of information. Now, Pam, this one's a good one for me too, because I mean it's a good question. So are all calories created equally? And that is the carbohydrates from a candy bar, are they different than carbohydrates from a sweet potato?
That is a $1 million question.
Yes, it is.
We're still doing a lot of research. If you look at it chemically, then the chemical component of, say, the carbohydrate, when you break it down to what our body uses, which is glucose, as well as the chemical component of the candy bar, which breaks down to glucose, which our body uses, technically you would think that there would be no difference, because how does your body know that this is the glucose from the candy bar and this is the glucose from, from the pasta or whatever? I think, though, that it's kind of a 50-50 question. Yes, your body doesn't seem to know that glucose is from the candy bar or from the pasta, but the The candy bar doesn't come with other extras, okay? It just comes with the sugar.
The sugars, yes.
Whereas your pasta, your fruit, your vegetables, they'll come with fiber, they'll come with antioxidants, they'll come with flavonoids, phytochemicals, all the things that keep us healthy. So in that respect, yes, your body does know the difference because it needs those other things to keep you healthy.
That's a good answer. Yeah, because I think that's one of the things. I mean, I love sweet potatoes. I also love a candy bar.
Sure.
But it's one of those where I always go, okay, I'd rather, at this point in my time period of life, I need to concentrate more on those sweet potatoes than the candy bar because there are the additional nutrients in the potatoes and stuff. And so we have to really try, in this fast-paced society that we live in, and everybody is moving rapidly, and it was like me this morning trying to get out the door. You know, I'm just trying to get greens down. I'm trying to get protein as well. But I'm moving so rapidly, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you know, it would have been so much easier for me to go to a fast food place in order to get food. But then I'm like, for the last 9 months now, I've been, you know, really thinking, oh man, I just don't want that. Because again, all of the bad things that are coming with that, I don't want in my body. And I think those are simple choices that we have to make. And we just sit there and say, no, I'm not going to go for the candy bar, or I'm not going to go for this, but I'm going to eat right and take my time, because in reality, it's going to affect us later in life as we look at things and how well our body responds to the good nutrition programs that we actually put our body through. So that's great. Now, Pam, what are the differences of complex carbohydrates versus simple carbohydrates?
Okay, that's actually more of a chemistry type question, or at least the answer is.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, if you look at a pen, okay, a pen, let's pretend, is the glucose molecule that we actually we'll use in our body, because that's what feeds our brain and our muscles. It's our fuel source, just like gas for a car. If you put like 6 of those together, that'd be like the chemical structure of some of our sugars that we're familiar with, like honey, table sugar, molasses, that kind of thing. If we put enough pens together to, say, fill up the mass of this chair, then that would be like the chemical structure that we find in fruit. If we fill enough pens to, say, fill the mass of the table or half of the quarter of the room, that would be like our chemical structure for carbohydrates. Our complex carbohydrates, so-called because they're much more complicated to take apart, and versus the simple, which is 6 that you take apart. But they all break down to our main fuel source, and this is why we eat them. You know, besides the fact that they taste good, look good, and all those other things, we actually just try to fuel our body.
Okay. Well, that's good. I appreciate that. We're going to take another 1-minute break here, Pam, and we'll come back with you for a couple more questions, and we'll also get into a little bit more on Looking Good Cottonwood. And again, you know, people can make contact with Trevor as well pertaining to these issues. And so we'll take a break here and we'll be back. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We've done what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Today we're talking nutrition, so we're getting back here with Pam Ing DeBrada, and she's a dietary nutritionist at Verde Valley Medical Center, so we're very pleased to have her with us today. She's been helping us through a lot here as we ask her a lot of questions, and we've got two more to ask you before I shift over to Trevor. Pam, we always talk about fiber and what fiber can do, and is it an important key to staying on track with your weight loss, your goals, etc.?
Actually, it plays a big role for weight loss. One of the things we find for people who are trying to lose weight is that they tend to feel hungry. Whatever diet they're on, they tend to feel hungry. So what fiber can do for us is it helps us to feel satisfied, but more importantly from a health end as well as from the weight loss end is fiber plays a role at keeping our guts regular. And our body uses 5 different types of fiber to stay healthy. So we're actually looking at fiber from whole grains and from vegetables and from fruits and also from some of our seeds that we eat are important to keep us regular, and everybody has a different regular schedule.
They do. You said everybody's different. That's very
exactly. True. And we also use what we call soluble and insoluble. So if you look on your nutrition label, you'll see that they have dietary fiber in there. That's usually the insoluble because that's easiest to measure in the lab. But the whole idea of weight control and fiber is that by keeping us regular, then we can use our nutrients and absorb them in a, shall we say, a more even fashion, so to speak, and also just to help us feel satisfied is mostly the biggest thing that I see with weight loss.
Okay, and as we're talking about weight loss and your weight loss goals, how does knowing your basic metabolic rate, your BMR, help you manage your weight loss goals?
I think it's important to know what your basic metabolic rate is because that is the base rate at which we burn calories. So for us to get up in the morning, get dressed, go to work, we need a certain amount of calories just to function. And then if we add the extra activities, exercise, fun things, games, we need calories on top of that. But we also know that studies are showing that as you get older, that basal metabolic rate can start slowing down a little bit. But we also know from studies that by staying physically active and providing the good nutrients from the foods we eat, that rate can be maintained closer to the, shall we say, the healthier metabolism rate that we're looking for. Also, we find that everybody, though, has a different, what I call the efficiency and the inefficiency quotient. People who tend to put on weight are somewhat inefficient with their calories. Instead of using those calories that we intake to do activities and to do physical things, oh no, we'll save them for later. There might be a famine, so we're going to hang on to them, you know. So those are what I call the very efficient folks. They just save them for later.
Now, Pam, would you say that's due to a more sedentary lifestyle where that inefficiency comes into play?
Accentuate it for sure.
So what you're saying is exercise can help us utilize nutrients that we're eating, the food that we're eating more efficiently?
Well, and in some ways we want us to be inefficient. We want to take those calories and not save them. We want to burn them up. We want to use them. We want to always have energy to do motion. And so by doing that, then we actually can use the calories for motion. We don't save them in the form of fat. We're actually using them and promoting that healthier image, lifestyle, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's good. That's good information. Well, thank you, Pam. I think we're going to swing over here real quick to Trevor, also on the looking good Cottonwood aspect of things on our side. How is the program going, and how many people are involved this time?
Yeah, the program's going really good so far. We've been going on since January 8th, so not quite a month yet, but we're getting there. And So far, we have 215 participants in the program, so just about the same as we did last year, which is good news for us.
It is.
One of our goals for this year is to keep more people just involved in participating in the program. So more people coming to the seminars, more people coming to our weekly weigh-ins, and etc. So.
Well, I think that that's one of the benefits with having such a intricately involved hospital like Verde Valley Medical Center. They really are helping immensely so, and I think that's why we're seeing the consistency of getting people either back into the program, but brand new people coming on board as they're seeing this. And so we have speakers that we have involved, and so again, if you have questions as to who the speakers are, you don't even have to be a part of Looking Good Cottonwood. You can come right in.
That's right.
And
anyone can come.
Anyone can come in. So please call again at the Cottonwood Recreation Center at 639-3200 and find out what those sessions are. You could come by and pick one up at the rec center also.
Sure
so we challenge you to do that. Trevor, so what is the most weight loss in the men's category so far?
So far, our highest weight loss for the men's category is 32 pounds. So, which is
that's incredible.
It's great. It's great progress.
And so for the women's category, what do we have there?
We have 21 pounds lost as our highest.
That's even really spectacular.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because it's harder sometimes for women to burn out that weight, and those calories and things.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's good news.
Our other goal is we're trying to get people focused not so much on the scale of the weight loss. While this is healthy, we want to establish those lifestyle behaviors. So the program is about developing those behaviors so we keep the lifestyle as part of our life for the rest of our lives, so we can live a improved lifestyle, and a lifestyle that's got more quality to it. So as we age, we can go out and play football with our grandkids or something like that, or do the things we enjoy with our loved ones. So.
And I think that's very, very vital, as well as good, valuable information from you both. And again, it's quality of living and the lifestyle that you look forward to. And I see so many seniors at our recreation center, and they've devoted themselves to that. They are incredible, and I watch them. They're more fit than I am, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and they make me look really bad, but they are just unbelievable people to watch them as they are in motion constantly. They've already adopted this lifestyle change, and this is what they are doing until the end of their days. And so I think that this is just an incredible opportunity for us all. If you need a mentor, look at some of these people out there, and you can come to the rec center or other recreation centers throughout wherever you are as well, and just talk with dietitians here and there too if you need to, because they can really help you out as nutritionists. Trevor, I know you do also, and your context of what you do at the recreation center, but Pam, I know you're a valuable asset to the Verde Valley community and the Verde Valley Medical Center. We're going to go ahead and try to get together again for next month as well on some of these issues as we start talking about upcoming events with Parks and Recreation. But thank you so much for coming today. It's been my pleasure. Pam, thank you again for all your information. You're a wealth of knowledge, and thank you again for being in our community for so long. And thank you for being with us today in Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Have a good day.